This is Travis Wayne Goodsell. I wasn't able to record on laptop, so the 30-minute video that I previously didn't record. Alright, so you should be able to see the cursor here. And here's the star Sirius. This, in the Egyptian religion, was the god Horus, and it rises during Christmas time, which is where Jesus Christ's birth comes into play. See, there's the three wise men pointing to the birth star of Jesus. That's where it comes from. But Jesus is actually Osiris, which is the constellation Orion, and not the son of Jesus. So this is Osiris, who is Jesus, because Osiris was the one who was murdered and had his kingdom usurped, just like Jesus was murdered and his church or kingdom was usurped, so that he didn't become the prophesied Messiah of the Jews. The Jews are waiting for Horus. This is the man-child that John the Revelator is talking about in chapter 12. The father of the woman is Jesus. The father is not mentioned by John because he's gone. He's dead. He's murdered. Ascended to heaven to establish the kingdom of heaven. It is the Son who is to come in the latter days and establish the kingdom on earth. So I'm sure that's all new to everybody who's listening, but that's how it was understood anciently. And the Constantine Church is the one who did away with all of that understanding and didn't want any more talk of a future son who would restore the kingdom that he just usurped. So, yeah, Constantine is the usurping king of Jesus. He didn't murder him, but it was the Romans. And there's the moon. And get these other features in place. And alright, so oh man, 4:30 in the morning, so still trying to wake up. Alright, and this is now, okay, there's Venus, so we need to get our main characters into view here. Here, by the way, is the serpent dragon with the crown. Revelation 12. This occurred on the 17th of December, 2017, where 5 planets, the sun and the moon, all conjoined at the tail to make enough stars at the tail, as John indicated. John was giving specific dates in the future and for our year and time. So yes, the total solar eclipse was a big part of this. Alright, wait a minute. Oh, yeah. Okay. Our first sign that we want to look at, and if you're not familiar, it's prerequisite that you look at my other videos so that you understand the signs and how I am able to interpret what is about to occur in the next month or so. not too many people are looking at that. Most people are looking at my LDS Return to Missouri video. Over 12,000 views on that one for some weird reason. But nobody's doing my revised version. Okay, to give a little bit of a background. Oh, Mercury on the 27th. Oh, okay. Mercury retrogrades. So this is something new that I didn't catch before. Mercury. Huh. No, that's Java. Where's Mercury? Acrob. Huh. Where's Mercury? There's Mercury. So on the 28th, tomorrow, yeah, Mercury is retrograding. Huh, that's fascinating. Huh. So he goes backwards. So this doesn't count as him. Okay, that's why. Alright, sorry, this is my own personal thing. I just finally figured out something new that I wasn't aware of before. The star Acrob is an Arabic word. It refers to the tree of knowledge of good and evil in the garden story in Genesis. And most all of you know that that has to do with the fall of Adam and Eve getting kicked out of the Garden of Eden because they partook of the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And so anybody who passes this star, and Mercury is going backwards, not forward, so it doesn't count when he goes backward. And it's excuse me. But it's significant as to falling of the representations of the planets. Though they're stars in the heaven, they have a direct correlation with a specific person on Earth. And so, as I've indicated previously, Jupiter is the man-child of John's Revelation 12. Mercury is Donald Trump, who is the president, though he's an illegitimate president, because he's not Jupiter, the man-child, but the election was rigged by Russia. So, yeah, they have correspondences. Mercury is significant because we're dealing with the passage of John, and we need to identify who the beast is from chapter 13, as well as the false prophet. John referred to both of those as being authoritarians in the last days during 2017-2018. And I've identified Mercury as Trump, as I've indicated. And Jupiter is the man-child. Oh man. and Mars is the false prophet. I was able to figure that one out way back in February of 2017. And so, yes, it's the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the Mormons, who are the false church. Because if Trump is the beast, meaning that it is that nation of which Trump is in charge of, who is the corrupt government of the last days, tormenting the people, tormenting the world, the false prophet also has to be in the United States. And that is not the Catholics. They don't even have a prophet at the head of their church anyway. Pope means bishop when translated. And I discussed all that in the video that never got recorded. I don't want to repeat it here because this is taking too much time with the new discovery that I just made here. Okay, so yeah, with Mercury passing the tree of knowledge of good and evil, it corresponds with Trump trying to be the one to usurp the throne from Jupiter, who is the rightful king and heir to the throne of his deceased father, Osiris or Jesus. And when Jupiter passed through the star, he was in conjunction with the sun, meaning that Jupiter passed his judgment. Here's the judgment scales right here, Libra. And so at the end of the judgment time period, they pass by Acrab, the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And if they go through alone, that means they fell just like Adam fell. And so, yes, the story about Adam falling corresponds with a sign in the heavens. And we'd have to go back in time to the specific date. But the whole star map was altered because of the rotation of the Earth on an axis and all that. So that's another story for another day. So at the top, if the planet reaches the top, they are the judge. And Jupiter has already been the judge and has been judging the world. And then it goes down and becomes judged himself. And he was finally judged and found worthy to be the chosen person that he was directed by God to be. And so as you can see, Trump went retrograde back through it during the time that Jupiter was approved of to try to usurp the throne from Jupiter. So that is new. Okay, so here on the 29th, magnitude, where is it? This is different on this one. Because I'm looking for brightness to show you that this is the, it doesn't do it on this revised version on this one, so that's a bummer. Okay, which may explain why my other one wasn't allowing it to record. Alright, well, whatever. On the 29th is a 50% moon. And the moon, as I'll demonstrate to you, there goes go earlier in the morning. There it is right there. Notice it's by Regulus, and as we go earlier in the morning, it's more aligned with Regulus. So around 3 in the morning, it's in conjunction with Regulus. Regulus is the king star. You may remember this from such stellar events as the total solar eclipse over the full United States, which was why I was warning everybody of the coming events that are now occurring this year, as Trump has usurped the government and has taken over with his authoritarian style and is destroying our rights and freedoms, gassing little children who he's also locked in cages. So yeah, Trump is the beast. But yeah, this was where the total solar eclipse occurred. Was right by the star Regulus. And so this is a reminder of that. The moon is at 50%. Okay, so that was the first one. And so everything is symbolic of what's going on these days. So let's see, the next one we need to go to the 7th. We need to go into the future. We need to. Okay, so now you see that Mercury is being judged. Trump is being judged. Or he's going back, rather. But at this particular time, he's starting to go forward again. So he's no longer in retrograde. Yeah. Yeah, he's starting to turn back around and move forward again. Okay, so on the 7th, this is the new moon. And moon age. There we go. Got to click on the moon to show the moon's age and the illumination. Alright. I should have known that. Okay. So this is the new moon, and it's always in conjunction with the sun, because that's when solar eclipses occur, is during the new moon, when it covers over the sun. So there's no eclipse on December 7th, at least over West Valley City. And Jupiter has since passed, and he's now in the throne of God constellation, Ophiuchus, and it's in between serpents, which I've already indicated to you as to the symbolism for that. So the question is when does the man-child actually become the ruler of the world? Symbolically, he already has, because he passed his judgment and is now in the throne of God. But there's got to be a physical coronation at some point in time, and I'm still trying to figure that one out. Let's jump ahead to when Trump fails his judgment on the 16th of December. So there you can see Trump has Mercury by Acrab, and he's all by his little lonesome, which means he's partaking of it by himself and thus has fallen. And the moon is 8.6 days, 62.9% illumination at 11 a.m. in the morning, almost noon. Okay, and then the 21st. Yeah, 21st is when Mercury joins Jupiter in Ophiuchus. So Trump is again trying to establish himself as King of Kings, Lord of Lords. But you'll notice guess where Venus is. Venus is the members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. They are going to be the judges of who to choose from, either Jupiter or Mercury, as to who they're going to follow. So that'll be interesting to see what happens. But I hate to tell, no I don't, the Mormons, as you are about to witness, are now being judged near the end of December through Christmas time. Look at that moon. That is awesome. 25 days old? Why does it look like it's a new moon? That is so awesome. This is the greatest thing ever. Okay. 2. I lose the moon. Okay, so we'll pull back. And we're headed to the 11th. 11th. So there you can see that Venus is now in conjunction with Acrab, and moon is 5 days old at 26.8%, and it's failed. Members of the church have fallen. Nelson already fell a long time ago. He's already long since failed his judgment. So Jupiter, the man-child, is the only one who passed and is approved by God. And the church members have failed. Trump has failed. Nelson has failed. And that's how that works. Now, I wanted to show something cool about Nelson, who is at 666%. The Pisces. Okay, there we go. Okay, so there's Nelson in January. He's in Pisces. Pisces is the sign for Horus, or the man-child. And as you can clearly see, Nelson is trying to usurp the man-child's authority, because God did not approve him. He approved the man-child, and he's over the tail of the beast, water beast. Here's the eye of the water beast, and has significance to other events that have taken place. But I think it must have been December 21st, or was it in the future? Yeah. Yeah, when Trump fails his judgment, Nelson is entering into Pisces. So on the same day that Nelson is trying to usurp the authority of the man-child, Trump fails his judgment. And here's the moon at 65.2%, 8.8 days old. Now watch and be amazed at what you're about to witness here. Okay, we need to go. Look at that, 666% at 11:18 in the evening of the 16th. So the moon is at 666% illumination when Trump fails his judgment and Nelson tries to usurp the authority of the man-child in his constellation, where the moon is in the constellation of Pisces as well. 666, the number of the beast. Awesome song by Iron Maiden. So there you have it. There's what's coming up for the next little while. Oh, I didn't do January 4th. So we're going to have to go back to Mercury, because the House took over by Democrats. Democrats will be taking over their position on the 3rd of January. And on the 3rd of January, that's there, the moon is at 4.9% illumination. It's 27.4 days old. So it's almost a new moon. But there's Mercury. So there's Sagittarius. Notice the arrow. So Trump is now the arrow, and so thus it's attacking someone or something. And you have the moon that is in its new moon stage in conjunction with Mercury over the arrow, meaning that Trump is going to attack the new Congress that takes over on January 3rd. So Trump will pull some kind of a stunt, and if you don't believe me, obviously you're going to find out anyway that I'm right, because it will happen. Trump has already threatened it anyway. He's going to shut down the government if he doesn't get his wall, and that's all just threats to maintain his position of power and authority over everybody as an authoritarian. We're not supposed to have the president with so much power. It was supposed to be Congress that were the big powerhouses, and we've altered that to make it king again. And as I've pointed out on my website, Trump has indeed committed every violation that the founding fathers accused King George of. Trump's doing the exact same thing. And so the Declaration of Independence, where they list out all the crimes of King George, they also say that we will no longer follow the government. We will establish new government. We are throwing off the Kingdom of England, Kingdom of Britain. We will be independent. So that's what I'm hoping you guys will do, is throw off our government and we can establish a new government. But as you can see, Trump will continue to attack. He will continue to cause problems because nobody's challenging him. Nobody is taking him out of office. Everybody's giving him supreme authority. And that's not good. When somebody's bad and corrupt, they need to be removed immediately. Because Congress has not done their job to remove Trump and have instead aided and abetted. Congress is also guilty of high crimes and treason against the United States and must also be removed from power. And like I said, the government has collapsed, just as the total solar eclipse indicated. This is the warning that I was trying to tell everybody. You know, Trump is now gassing little babies after having locked them in cages. He's worse than the Nazis. So, come on, guys. We gotta take back our nation. We can't allow it to just go to pot, because we're just gonna suffer and die. Because, you know, what do you think's gonna happen? You know, if the government has its way, they'll fight among each other, destroy themselves, and we suffer as a people. We have to take over our government. We have to take it back. So, if you're not going to do it, you know, that's suicide. And you're ruining the future of our nation and of humanity and your posterity. There will be no nation for your posterity. There will be no posterity. We'll all be dead. Alright, so this is what's coming in the next couple of months. So, as you can tell, haven't quite figured out when the man-child is supposed to take over the throne for physical reality. But by the end of January, he's going to be out exiting the throne of God. So it's got to be before the end of January. It may be during the 21st of December. That would make sense, being the emergence of Horus, the star Sirius, where Mercury and Jupiter in conjunction. Venus is the judge with the full moon on that day. So who knows? I won't know until after it occurs. So there you have it. Go to my website. You know, learn about your Constitution. Pull out a Constitution, Google it, whatever. Read it. Our government is not following the Constitution. You know, where do you find party government in the Constitution? You don't. What type of government are we supposed to have? It's not a democracy. It's a constitutional republic, not a socialist republic as China or Russia used to be. China, I guess, also. But now they're an emperorship, an empire, with the leader becoming emperor for life. And then Russia is no longer communist. They're now fascist because Putin is not a member of the Communist Party, which is a redundancy. You can't have a Communist Party because party government is communism. And so, yeah, it's not a representational republic. People think that that's the way it's supposed to be, that we should have a vote as to who represents us. No, we're supposed to be a constitutional republic, and that's a completely different government than how we've established it these days. So, yeah, it pisses me off when everybody says that our democracy is in jeopardy. You hear it from both the left and the right-wing media. So we're not a democracy. We're not supposed to be a democracy. Don't push for a democracy. It means minority rights don't have rights. And so if you're on the losing end, obviously you don't want majority rules. So democracy is a horrible government. We want a constitutional republic. So awesome. That is awesome. So there you go. So we need to rise up and take our nation back, people, because the government ain't going to fix it for us. They have no intention of fixing it for us. Trump specifically wants us to riot so that he can justify beating us down with the military and National Guard and the local police. And it's shameful. Our authorities are supposed to protect us from a guy like Trump, and yet they're aiding and abetting him. Our police officers, our National Guard, our military are all supposed to stand down. They are not supposed to follow the orders of a corrupt leader. They know better, and yet they're not doing it. So, yeah, we're all doomed unless you guys rise up and take back our nation. And yeah, you're going to have to sacrifice your rights for a time until we win. And I'm not talking about giving up your rights. I'm talking about sacrificing your lives in order for the fight for freedom. Because we are in a civil war. Trump has attacked us. You know, he hasn't just used tear gas on us. You know, he's destroyed our environment through the Scott Pruitt's administration. Now the new guy, who's even worse than Pruitt. But, I mean, yeah, Flint, Michigan, the California wildfires. Trump doesn't care about us. He wants loyalty. He wants tribute. That's all he wants. And he's going to get it if we don't stand up to him. The news reporters, they don't stand up to him. You know, they're afraid of him. You know, they fear being punished by Trump if they stand up against Trump. And Mia Love, you know, yesterday she gave her announcement of how she's finally woken to Trump's personality. You know, what was she thinking when he called her ancestral home a bleep hole country? She should have figured it out then that he was not for her. You know, people who are Republicans, they have a different idea of how republicanism is supposed to be, and so they're shocked when a man like Trump actually does the Republican platform agenda. You know, you can't go into an organization that has a specific platform in mind and think that you can have your way with the tribe that you're a part of. And it goes for Democrats too. You see Democrats going in and being disappointed with the way Democrats behave on certain issues. And that's what's wrong with a dichotomous party government system, is the government doesn't work for the people, they work for the tribe. The Constitution was not intending for tribal government warfare. So, Stellarium is awesome. Stellarium.org. Don't go to .com. That's a trap. .org. You can download Stellarium for yourself.